already determined how we're gonna vote on the amendment and on the budget itself. We feel very confident in moving forward, but if the Republican caucus feels that they need to hear from the department heads, could I suggest that we recess and the Republican caucus can go and sit in the caucus room and hear from each of the department heads?
That's not what Mr. Parks wanted. Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have done some research. I can speak a little, but I would rather have the full, information to be made public. This is not behind closed doors. This isn't the 3 men in a room we have in New York. This is a public place, and everybody should take a part in it and hear what goes on.
The budget process has been public since it was released in September. It has been public since it was released. We have had a week of budget hearings. This is redoing the budget hearings, and I find it highly offensive.
Well, I would say that the majority would like to hear from the department heads. That's what this legislature is going to hear. And Mr. Mazzaro.
Maybe we can put it another way. I would like to hear from any department head who can make the cuts. I really do not want to hear from any department head who cannot make the cuts. I would like to hear, are there any department heads in this room that can come forward and say, yes, we can make the cuts that are in this amendment? If they can, I would like to hear from them. If they can't, then we know we're just going to be hearing all this over again that I heard for over a week in audit control.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll? I want to know how many are in favor of hearing department heads now? Move roll call vote, please. Majority rules.
Mr. Alstrom?
No.
Mr. Babbage?
Yes.
Mr. Barmore?
Yes.
Mr. Barillo?
Yes.
Mrs. Cornell?
No.
Mr. DeJoe?
No.
Mrs. DeJoy?
No.
Mr. Duff?
No.
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
Mr. Bello?
No.
Mr. Heenan?
No.
Mr. Himmeline?
Yes.
Mrs. James?
No.
Mrs. Kindberg?
No.
Mr. Lemon?
Yes.
Mr. Mueller?
No.
Mr. Mazzaro?
No.
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Runkle?
Yes.
Mr. Stutter?
Yes.
Mr. Stutzman?
No.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Tarbrake?
Yes.
Chairman Croskett?
Yes.
12 yes, 13 no. I'm sorry, 13 yes, 12 no.
Okay, we'll start again. Mr. Spanos, would you please come up and discuss?
Mr. Chairman, before we begin, will we be able to ask questions of the
Yes,
department heads?
You may.
Wonderful.
I want to have dialogue. I told you that at the beginning of the meeting. Mr. Spanos, go ahead.